Seeing strange ships on the horizon, huge wooden monsters cutting through the waves, bringing not goods, not visitors, but a darkness that would reshape 3 continents and echo for over 400 years. Today's tale is of the transatlantic slave trade, the biggest forced migration in human history and one of the most tragic engines that built the modern world. In the 15th century, European explorers reached the West African coast. At first, they came seeking trade, gold, pepper, ivory, but they discovered something else: human beings, captured in conflicts or raids, being traded locally. Soon, European traders realized something horrifying: human beings could become the most profitable cargo of all. Night falls in a peaceful village. Families sleep, fires dim, drums quiet. Then, shouts, gunshots, chaos. Armed raiders, sometimes rival African kingdoms, sometimes coastal collaborators, capture men, women, and even children. These captives would be marched for days under chains, exhaustion, and fear toward the coast, and at the end of that journey stood the now infamous slave forts: Elimna, Cape Coast, Gory Island, stone dungeons where thousands waited in darkness, not knowing the fate ahead. Now imagine being forced into the belly of a ship, a space barely an arm's length, shackled, packed, no light, no air, no dignity. This was the Middle Passage, a hellish voyage across the Atlantic that could last 6 to 12 weeks. Conditions were so brutal that many didn't survive. Disease, starvation, dehydration, and despair claimed millions. For every person who reached the Americas, another had died on the way. But for traders, this suffering was business, profits, wealth. The ships reached Brazil, the Caribbean, and North America, and what waited was unimaginable. Enslaved Africans were lined up, inspected like livestock, and auctioned to the highest bidder. Families were torn apart forever, parents in one plantation, children in another. Then came the labor: sugar plantation in the Caribbean, cotton fields in the American South, mines in Brazil, tobacco and rice plantations all across the Americas. They built economies, cities, industries. Everything from the wealth of London to the rise of American capitalism was touched by their forced labor. But this is not a story of victims alone. It is a story of fighters. From the Haitian Revolution, where enslaved Africans rose up and defeated France, creating the first black republic in the world, to hundreds of rebellions across Jamaica, Brazil, and the US, enslaved people fought fiercely for freedom. Even when rebellion was impossible, resistance lived in secret languages, drum rhythms, preserved religions, stories, names, and the unbreakable determination to survive. By the 1800s, the world changed. Voices rose against the trade. Abolitionists, formerly enslaved people, activists, and even some political leaders. The British abolished the trade in 1807. The US followed in 1808, but slavery itself continued long after, until the late 19th century in some regions. When it finally ended, over 12 million Africans had been shipped across the ocean. Their descendants represent entire nations today. The transatlantic slave trade wasn't just a chapter in history. It reshaped cultures, created new identities, broke nations, built others, and left scars that still influence the world. But it also produced some of humanity's greatest strengths: survival, resilience, creativity, culture, and hope. As long as we tell the story, the people who lived it are never forgotten. What do you think of this story? I'd like to know in the comment section. For more stories like this, please click on the like button, share, and subscribe.